Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 1. Now let's start the fanfic. The sun was high in the sky as the small group of Konoha Chunin trenched through the quiet desert. The group had been called to Sunagkur in order to assist the Suna ninja on some mission. Hinata didn't really care what the mission was. She knew that whatever it is, it meant she would be away from those she cared about at some length. She thought about those close to her. About Shino, about Kiba, about Kurenai-sensei, about her family, and mostly about the one she had always cherished, Naruto. Hinata realized it was her duty as a shinobi to go on such missions, but that simple fact didn't change how she longed to see her friends. The group arrived at its destination and was soon given an audience by the cage. Hinata remembered this man. She had seen him before, at her first attempt at the Chunin exam. She studied him carefully. He had about him that same feeling of exotic mystery and great hidden strength that she identified with men like Shino and Naruto. The Kazekage caught her longing stare and gave a ridiculing smirk. Hinata blushed intensely as she quickly averted her eyes. What could she possibly be thinking? The Kazekage began the mission briefing. Apparently a criminal ninja organization had recently moved their base of operations from Hinata's homeland to this country. The group had been causing trouble for the Suna ninja and assistance from Konoha was necessary, as a large portion of Hinata's group had dealt with this organization in the past. The enemy base was located 2 days from the village. They would be leaving at daybreak. The Kazekage would take care of each ninja's payment himself upon mission completion. The mission would be led by the Kazekage's own brother, a Suna Junin named Kanuro. The operation went smoothly. The ninja renegades were, for the most part, all either apprehended or. Hinata tried her hardest to focus on the mission and she was mostly successful in her goal. She managed to bring down 7 of the outlaw shinobi on her own. Kankuro was quite impressed with Hinata's skill, and made sure to note it. Hinata was also somewhat impressed with Kankuro. He had that same sort of wild instinctual essence that made Kiba and Naruto so interesting. Still, even with someone as interesting as Kankuro around, Hinata couldn't help but think about her home, about her friends. The group returned to the village. They would sleep the night there and begin the long trek home in the morning. Hinata entered the room that she had been assigned. She sat down on the bed there and closed her eyes. She knew she wouldn't sleep. She had barely slept at all since she had started this mission. Hinata stared blankly at the ceiling. At least tomorrow she would leave for her home. Suddenly, a knock sounded on Hinata's door. Surprised and confused, she jumped to her feet to answer the door. Standing there was a woman. She was older than Hinata, but not by many years. She had frizzy blonde hair, and piercing green eyes. Hinata thought she might have seen her somewhere before, but didn't really remember. However, there was something about this woman that made Hinata feel very unusual. How can I help you? Hinata asked in her usual, shy, reserved manner, as the woman entered her room. Lord Gaara sent me to give you your payment for the mission, since you never came to claim it. She replied coolly. That's right, Hinata thought. She had forgotten all about the fact that she was getting paid for this mission. Her mind was too preoccupied on the thoughts of seeing her friends again, of seeing him again. However, now, as Hinata thought, she could not remember his face. The odd feeling had swept over her entirely. She could not think straight. Oh, okay, Hinata replied even shyer and more reserved than usual, as she examined her reward. Wow, this is a lot. Well, you are Hyuga Hinata, aren't you? The woman asked playfully. Why yes. Hinata blushed a vibrant red as she spoke. Kankuro raved about how excellent you were out there. He made sure that Gaara paid you a nice sum. Hinata thought to herself as she and this woman talked about the mission. What was she thinking? What was she feeling? Why did this woman make her feel this way? Perhaps she reminded Hinata of what she wished she was. Perhaps she was merely jealous of her exotic beauty. Why would Hinata even notice this other woman's beauty? Why would she care about this person she had only just met? She thought for a moment. The woman had something about her, a certain energy. Hinata couldn't label it, but it was the same sort of energy that made. Hinata gasped. She couldn't think of any of the usual names. For that moment, the thoughts and memories of her friends, her family, Naruto, they all vanished. Everything was replaced by an odd, uncontrollable desire for the woman in front of her. Well, I think I'll be going then. The woman sighed, as she stood and turned toward the exit. No, Hinata exclaimed without thinking. What? Why not? The woman replied in a confused manner. What I mean is, could you please tell me your name before you go? Hinata's eyes were transfixed on the desert flower before her as she tried to find the words to express her deeply confused thoughts. It's Temari. The woman replied as she began to walk toward the door. Temari, Hinata thought, what a beautiful name. Hinata's thoughts were confused, her heart was racing, her stomach was knotted, she was losing control of herself. She soon became certain of one thing, that no matter what, she could not let this woman leave her room, she had to do something. Hinata stood up and put her hand on Temari's shoulder. Temari turned to face the girl. What do you want? Temari's words were interrupted by Hinata's lips meeting her own. The two young women stood there, their mouths interlocked in a deep passionate kiss. Hinata found herself pleasantly surprised that Temari made no effort to resist her and instead inserted her tongue deep into Hinata's open mouth. Hinata and Temari's kiss grew deeper, more passionate, and more intense, until it was broken by the younger girl's desperate gasps for air. Hinata, unsure of what she was doing, steadily began removing the clothing Temari was wearing, piece by piece until even the other girl's undergarments lay strewn across the floor. Hinata soon found herself undressed as she lustfully began touching and licking the body of this stranger. Temari's hand drifted serenely to a resting spot between Hinata's legs. The Suna Junin stared endlessly into Hinata's eyes as she forcefully inserted her fingers into the younger girl. Hinata gave a low moan as she began to feel the oceans of pleasure swell up within her and then finally overwhelm her. Hinata and Temari once more kissed, this time longer and harder than before, the two young, soft female bodies rubbing gently together as they did so, Temari's hand gently stroking Hinata's soft and lustrous dark hair. Again, Hinata began to lick and kiss the flesh of the beautiful girl before her, until she found her way to Temari's eagerly waiting pleasure spot. She began to sharply tongue the UAL organ vivaciously, reveling in the tastes and smells of the older ninja as she touched herself. Temari moaned and cried as the young Konoha kunoichi pleasured her, and these moans and cries only served to intensify the young Hyuga's lust, until the older girl released her climactic juices into the other girl's ever-waiting mouth. The two shinobi collapsed, exhausted, on the bed. After a moment's time, Temari once more kissed the girl passionately, then withdrew, a scared look on her face, as if she had just realized what was doing. Why did we? I don't Temari asked, confused and broken, unsure of anything. The Hyuga girl struggled to find a reply to the feelings of the other. She really didn't know anything, she didn't know anyone, she didn't even know herself. Confused thoughts raced endlessly through every corner of her mind. The only thing that was certain to her was that somehow, for some reason, she was in love with the women lying next to her, that she loved Temari. I love you, Hinata said simply, finding both her courage in her answer. Temari gasped as she took in the other's word of compassion. This girl's beautiful white eyes were transfixed upon Temari's own as if they could see the deepest recesses of her soul. Temari's confusion vanished in the Konoha girl's gaze. I love you. Temari spoke softly, discovering the truth of the words as she spoke them. Hinata wondered how people who had barely just met, who were little more than strangers, could truly love each other, but she didn't question it. She now understood the truth of her feelings and would be true to them. Hinata knew she would sleep tonight, she knew that tomorrow she would leave this wondrous place. As she stared at the girl beside her, she couldn't help but wish that she could stay here forever, that this night would never end, and that tomorrow would never come. The two kunoichi then found rest wrapped in the soft, warm embrace of one another. The bright sun encircled a small group of Konoha Chunin with light and warmth, as they marched through the dense, quiet forest. When this group had left its native land, it had been the dead of winter. Now the trees shone brilliant green in the warm spring air. Hinata couldn't help but relate her own transformation to that of this beautiful forest. She had been a prisoner to herself and those around her. She had been no different than the cold, lifeless trees, stuck within winter's grasp. Now things were different. Spring had come and released her from winter's bonds. Her spring's name was Temari, and she believed that now something truly beautiful would bloom. Hinata remembered the day she had left that tranquil desert. She awoke that morning to an empty bed. The desert flower she had treasured that night was nowhere to be found. Distraught, Hinata gathered the few belongings she had with her, and prepared to rejoin her group, all the while thinking that perhaps it would be better if they didn't see each other again before she returned to her village. The young girl found herself lost in thought as she made her way through the sand-swept village. Hinata. An all-too-familiar voice called out to her from afar. The young shinobi turned quickly toward the direction of the call. Hinata found herself staring into the same deep green eyes that she had so many times the night before. "Oh, Temari. Dot was just." Hinata said shyly and nervously. "I know. You have to leave now. Go back to your village," she said longingly, caressing Hinata's shoulder as she spoke. "I've just come to see you off on your journey home." But we can't, we won't," the shy girl started. "Don't worry, dear, I often find work as an emissary between this village and your own. I'm actually scheduled to be in Konohagakure all next month, to help organize the upcoming Chunin examination as a representative for my brother." Really? So that means that we will be able to see each other again." Temari watched as the younger girl's face lit up with each word she spoke. "You are so cute. I just got a little more work to do here, and then I'll come look for you, okay?" The Junin said playfully. "I'll wait there for you. I'd wait forever if I had to." Hinata sighed lovingly as the other woman pulled her face in close. "Forever's too long. How's a month sound?" Temari replied jokingly. "That sounds great," Hinata managed to say, before the other woman's lips were pressed tenderly against her own, in a sweet, loving kiss. Temari shortly withdrew and turned toward the direction of the village exit. "It's probably time that you should go, the others are probably looking for you," Temari said gently. She couldn't help but notice the look of great disappointment on the young girl's face. "What? If I leave you with much more than that, I won't be able to concentrate on any work this month," she said with an energetic smile, trying to comfort the younger girl. The Chunin turned to join her comrades on the journey back to her native village, all the while knowing that she might never be able to concentrate on anything again. Hinata knew the forests they were now marching through well. They were some of the darkest and deepest forests in the Konoha area, lush, green, and beautiful, teeming with life. Hinata recognized that they were fast approaching Konoha village, the land she had always called home. Hinata didn't really care anymore. She knew that this place was no longer truly her home. Her only home now was the tight embrace of the one she loved. The group finally reached their destination. They entered the gates of Konoha village. Waiting for them at the entrance there was a large group of people eagerly wishing to welcome loved ones back into their life. Hinata didn't see anyone waiting for her, but then again she didn't even look. She didn't care. She was just going to go home to her bed and sleep, and then waste away the rest of the month with her dreams. She turned away from the crowd and headed on her own direction down a narrow street. "Hinata," a deep and grizzled, but kind voice bellowed enthusiastically from the shadows. The girl turned to face the friend she had all but forgotten. Inuzuka Kiba approached her, Akamaru following right behind him. "Hinata, it's been so long since you left, we all missed you so much," Kiba said as gave his teammate an enthusiastic bear hug. "Really? I wasn't gone that long, Kiba," Hinata replied energetically as she began to remember old friendships. "Yeah, well, you know how dull it can get with just Shino around." "So, Hinata, Are you trying to intentionally avoid everyone or did you just forget your way around? Kiba joked. No, I'm just tired. That mission took a lot out of me. There will be plenty of time for everyone to welcome me back in the morning. Hinata said smoothly. Oh yeah, that group you guys were after was supposed to be pretty rough, and it was an A-rank mission after all. It must have been hard on you. No, it wasn't that bad. There were more than enough of us to defeat them, and our plan went through perfectly. Oh, so that's it. You just sat back and watched as the others took 'em all out. Kiba laughed as he spoke. I'll have you know that I defeated 7 of the enemy ninja all by myself. Hinata replied sternly. Really? You took out 7 skilled ninja on your own? You must have got paid extra for that. So how much did you get? Hinata took the time to remember receiving her payment. She knew that there was a monetary amount. She didn't really remember how much it was, for she had never counted it. The real payment she had received that night was something else, something infinitely more valuable. More than you could ever imagine, the Hyuga girl replied slowly in a low teasing voice. Okay. Well, I can kinda imagine some pretty large numbers, so, yeah. Kiba said in a very confused, unsure manner. Hinata blushed a vibrant red. Had she really just said that in front of her good friend? She fumbled through her stuff for a small bag containing her monetary reward and tossed it gently to Kiba. This is a lot for a single mission, not more than I could ever imagine, but a lot nonetheless. Kiba still had a marked look of confusion in his eyes as he passed the money back to the girl. You know, Hinata, it may just be that I haven't seen you in a while, but something seems kind of different about you. You seem happier, more energetic, something, I don't know. Did something happen to you? Something you need to talk about? Yes, Kiba, I had hot with another woman and sort of fell in love with her, and now I'm going to see her again next month, and I just can't wait. Hinata wondered how her friend would react if she told him the truth. She gave an awkward giggle. No, I'm just tired, that's all. I need to get some sleep. See you tomorrow, Kiba. Hinata began walking past her friend, stopping to pet the large dog at his side. Okay, Hinata, just remember, me and Akamaru are here for you if you need us. The young girl watched as the boy and his dog vanished back into the shadows. The next day, Hinata found herself revisiting the places and people who lived forever in her memories. Now returned to the world she had always known, she couldn't help but question whether it had all been a dream as she looked over the home she had always known from a hill on the outskirts of town. Did she really exist? Were those long shapely legs, those beautiful green eyes, that wondrous blonde hair, that near-perfect figure, that incredible smile, that angelic voice, that warm feeling of her embrace, were they all just part of Hinata's dreams? No, she was definitely real. She promised she would come for Hinata next month, and Hinata had promised that she would be there waiting. I can do this, I can still be there for Temari, and also keep my old life close to me. Hinata thought to herself. Hinata. A low voice rang out from right beside her. Hinata gave a surprised gasp as she looked around. The cloaked figure of Aburame Shino was standing right beside her. Oh, Shino, how long have you been standing there? Hinata spoke hesitantly. Not long now, I heard that your mission went well. Shino began. Oh, so you just came to see how I am doing? Yep. Everything is great. Hinata smiled at her friend. That is good to know. My friends inform me that you have been at this spot for some time now. Tell me, is there something on your mind? Shino replied in a cool, serious manner, and insect rested on his outstretched finger. Well, you see, Shino, I just can't get the image of my girlfriend's body out of my mind, and came out here to think about how I am going to be seeing her again soon. Even with Shino being his normal dead serious self, she was sure that this would elicit some sort of reaction from him. She gave a short laugh. No, not really. I just like it here. You can see deep into the village from up here. I can relax, and clear my mind. Hinata said. A deep longing lingered in her breath. Very well. You know where to turn if you need anything. Shino replied in his usual manner as he left Hinata alone. Hinata left the hill and began to walk home. She walked her way through the village, passing friends she had not seen for weeks, stopping to greet them all. As she continued, Hinata soon found herself face to face with the man who once held a grasp on her every thought and dream. "Hey Hinata, how's it going?" sounded the voice of Uzumaki Naruto. "Oh, hey Naruto," Hinata replied. She really hadn't thought about Naruto since she had met Temari. Seeing him now, she tried to rationalize her previous feelings for this man. In all the years she had known Naruto, she had never once thought about him in the same way she did Temari that night. She had always seen Naruto as an inspiration, as a sort of idol as to what she should strive to be in her own life when things didn't go her way. Perhaps Naruto was never really more than that. Maybe she just fooled herself into thinking she had feelings for him, when really she was just trying to rationalize why she held him to such a high regard. "So, Hinata, Kiba told me that you just got back from some dangerous mission." Naruto spoke energetically. "Yeah, it was great." Hinata replied with a large smile. "It was great. That's kind of weird, Hinata. I never picture you as being someone who actually enjoyed doing dangerous stuff like that." Naruto said, bewildered. Well, you see, it was quite exhilarating, being out there, and everyone was so nice to me, and I got paid pretty well." Hinata said, struggling to find her excuse. "Yeah, Kiba did tell me that you kiced a whole bunch of ninjas out there," said Naruto, returning to his usual enthusiasm. "I suppose you could say that." Hinata smiled and laughed as she spoke. "Hey, wait a minute. Why you're talking to me? This is weird, you never did this before. You used to always just stare at me with that odd look on your face, and just sometimes say something to me all shy like." Naruto spoke in a sudden odd panic as he began to pace around. "Well, Naruto, you see, the thing is, that up until recently, I was totally convinced that I was in love with you, you were only too dense to notice. But, the other day I discovered that I really wasn't in love with you, when I fell madly in love with the Kazekage Garas, you know him right? Sister Temari. So yeah, I'm a lesbian now, but we can still be friends, right?" Hinata couldn't help but burst out laughing as she thought of what Naruto's reaction to the truth might be. "Oh, I guess I just forgot." Hinata made a failed attempt to rationalize her behavior. "You forgot. Alright," Naruto replied mockingly. "I'm sorry, but I have to go, Naruto, so see you around." Hinata began to walk away quickly. "Hinata, I'm not done here. You know drug abuse is a serious problem, you really need to talk this out." Naruto spoke in a concerned manner, but the Hyuga girl was already long gone. Days passed and Hinata's longing did not fade or waver in the slightest. In fact, with each passing day, as the time when the two women would be reunited grew closer, Hinata's desire grew ever stronger. Soon a new month was upon her and Hinata knew it would only be a matter of time before the desert flower immortalized in her memories would be at her side once more. One morning Hinata found a slip of paper carefully folded and secured right under the window of her bedroom. She took it in hand, gently unfolded it, and read over the contents. The warm spring air enveloped the dark-haired girl as she walked briskly toward the specified location. Soon every dream she had held within her the previous month would come to be satisfied. The girl wore a simple dark blue skirt and a white silk blouse. She had a blue ribbon tied in her hair and wore long dark socks. Soon Shahad reached her destination. You're here early, Hinata." A woman stepped out of the shadows by the fountain meeting spot. "It's only 6:30, I didn't know you were this impatient." Hinata studied the woman. She wore tight, black pants that clearly outlined every contour of her long, muscular legs. Her chest was framed by a low-cut gray shirt, over which she wore a dark green jacket that perfectly complemented the green in her eyes. She wore her blonde hair down simply, rather than in her usual fashion. Hinata fought every urge to jump on top of the other woman right then and there. "Why, you are so beautiful, Temari," Hinata replied with a blush as she walked slowly toward the blonde girl. "I see you took my advice on picking your outfit as well." Temari spoke teasingly, nodding towards Hinata's skirt. So, you want to get some dinner? I have reservations at a nice restaurant in town. That sounds wonderful. Hinata spoke, envisioning the romantic evening that would soon follow. Dinner went wonderfully. The air was thick with romantic energy as the two girls talked about themselves and their lives, finally getting the chance to really know one another. Hinata was impressed by how much the two of them had in common. They both came from very prominent ninja families, and were constantly forced to prove their own worth. As she knew more and more, Hinata began to feel an incredible sense of comfort in the face of this woman she so loved. You know, I have a nice apartment that I rent whenever I'm in town. You want to see it? Temari questioned the young Hyuga playfully. That sounds nice. Hinata replied lovingly, knowing full well the Suna ninja's intent. The two kunoichi left the restaurant and headed down the long street toward the older woman's private apartment. Hinata couldn't help but wonder how the events of that night would play out. This is it. The blonde ninja led her lover into the large, luxurious apartment. This is a nice place, Temari, you have a lot of space. Hinata said as she looked around. Yeah, well, they do spare no expense for the official representative of the Lord Casecage himself. Temari replied in a proud tone. So, Hinata, did you enjoy dinner? Oh yes, it was wonderful. Thank you for everything, Hinata answered with a smile. You know, I'm actually still pretty hungry. A playful smirk leapt to the desert girl's face as she spoke. Really? Are you going to go get some dessert then? The dark-haired girl said steadily, not noticing the malicious look in the other girl's eye. Yep, that's the idea. I think I'll get me some pie. Temari's slight smirk was now a huge grin. Either that or I could just eat you. The next thing Hinata knew, she was pushed onto a large red couch in the center of the room, and the older girl's head was buried deep under her skirt. She felt as Temari's tongue gently outlined the shape of her vagina through the pink cotton fabric that imprisoned it. Oh, you really want it, don't you? Temari spoke, noticing the warm fluid spilling out of Hinata. Soon Hinata's skirt and her panties were lying on the floor, and Temari's tongue had moved deep into her slit. Hinata gasped and moaned in pleasure as the warm tongue moved up and down against her inner walls, and then made the trip to her already throbbing nodosy. As the rest of Hinata's clothes had hit the floor, Temari raised a hand and began to cup and knead Hinata's chest vigorously, taking the time to play with the Konoha girl's perky nipples. The blonde girl's other hand soon had made its move, finding its way to just under Hinata's UAL area. Soon one of Temari's slender fingers was deep inside the other girl. Hinata grasped hard at the fabric of the couch as she moaned low and hard. There were now 2 fingers within her, and then 3. Hinata could feel as the blonde's hand stretched every sensitive fiber of the tight organ. Temari's tempo increased rapidly as the other's moans grew stronger and stronger, until the Konoha kunoichi gave a sharp, loud moan that she knew could only mean one thing. Temari took the time to lap up as much of the other's climactic juice as possible, before standing to finally meet Hinata face to face. The women's lips met instantly in the most wonderful of kisses. Hinata, caught up in the sheer, amazing intensity of the moment, forcefully thrust her tongue deep into the other girl's mouth. Hinata began to move her hands against every contour of this girl's clothing as she took the time to revel in her own taste upon Temari's breath. The blonde girl's hand moved softly into the other's hair, stroking gently at her cheek, intensifying the passion of the kiss. Hinata had soon undid the button of Temari's pants, and tugged tightly to bring them to the floor, revealing wide black lingerie. Temari, catching the young girl's excitement, proceeded to break the kiss and remove her shirt. Hinata wasted no time in removing the first small piece of black cloth from the other girl's chest. Playfully, the Hyuga girl moved her lips to Temari's excited nipple. She licked forcefully at the woman's, while passionately massaging the other with her hand. Hinata took a moment to move her other hand deep into the other lacy black undergarment that still clung to the young Suna ninja. Hinata was excited at the great wetness of the tiny black piece of cloth as she removed it and began to gently touch the older girl. Temari gave a low gasp as she felt her lover's tongue gently trail down from her chest, across her stomach, and then finally down between her legs. Hinata licked with incredible vigor at the tender fibers of Temari's deep, open vagina. The young Hyuga poked her tongue deep and hard at the sensual pit of her delicious desert flower, all the while marveling at every taste and smell the young girl had to offer. As Hinata delivered incredible oral pleasure to every inch of her most sensitive area, Temari began to move her hands softly and steadily across Hinata's perfect body. Temari now had Hinata by the arms and was holding her back. Hinata looked up at the other girl's face in confusion. Soon Hinata had been pushed flat onto the couch and the blonde girl was atop her. Temari kissed Hinata hard with her tongue before breaking and turning her body completely around, to once more pleasure the younger girl's private spot. Hinata, seeing now what the other girl wanted to do, stated to greedily tongue the warm slit that hung in front of her mouth once more. Both women continued to pleasure one another with their tongues and fingers, taking breaks to gasp and moan as the other grew ever more vigorous in their endeavor. The moans turned harder and deeper in their intensity, until soon both girls had erupted in a hard, simultaneous UAL climax upon the other. Hinata gave a few licks at the other girl's delicious juices before she felt as Temari's soft female body lowered itself upon her. The two stayed there like that for a few moments before they would leave to go to bed together. As both Temari and Sleep soon began to embrace her softly, Hinata once more spoke those words. "I love you." This time they were spoken with the most absolute certainty. "I love you too." The other girl replied in a tired but deeply caring voice as sleep soon overtook them both. Hinata awoke early the next morning and once more found the bed to be deserted. She put on some clothes that had been set out for her before entering the main room of the apartment. Hinata stared at the red couch at the center of the room. Every vivid detail of the night before suddenly returned to her. "It's a nice couch, isn't it?" A teasing voice came from behind her. Hinata turned to face the woman she so loved. Temari was wearing a simple bath robe, very loosely tied around the waist. Hinata couldn't help but notice that she wore nothing under it. "I made breakfast if you're interested," the beautiful blonde said calmly. "That sounds good," Hinata replied as she followed Temari to the dining area. The two sat down and began to eat the meal that Temari had prepared. "This is pretty good, Temari," Hinata commented with enthusiasm. "Well, just because I'm a high-level Sunajunin, doesn't mean I can't cook. Besides, I had reason to try hard, now that I have someone to cook for." Temari replied smoothly. "Thank you." Hinata gave a slight blush. "It really is no problem. I mean, I'd do anything for someone as wonderful as you." Now Temari was blushing. Really? What makes me so wonderful?" Hinata questioned shyly. "What are you talking about, Hinata? You are absolutely perfect." Temari stood and walked over to Hinata. "Everything about you is. Your round eyes, your cute face." Temari's hand suddenly moved to touch every part of Hinata's body as she continued. "These nice big S, your incredibly thin waist, your nice butt, your legs and everything in between them. Not to mention that you're flat out incredible in bed. Oh, and you're also a very nice person." Hinata blushed as the blonde girl touched and praised her with a deep white tone. "So, Temari, were you into this sort of thing before you met me?" The Hyuga girl asked the other suddenly. "You mean other women?" The girl questioned and was met with a quick nod. "I guess so. I mean, I was never with another woman before you, but I always wanted to be. I've always found women to be attractive. I just always denied it to myself. It wasn't something I could have started on my own." "You're a lot braver than I am." Temari now spoke in a shy and reserved manner. "But how about you, Hinata? The way you kissed me back there, you probably have every young girl in this village on speed dial." The girl finished enthusiastically. "There weren't any before you," Hinata replied shyly. "Oh, so you were into guys before me then?" Temari teased. "No, you were my first," Hinata answered. "Why, you're kidding me." The blonde had an odd look of bewilderment on her face. "No, I'm not," the other girl said simply. "So you had never ever been with someone before, and you just randomly decide to make out with some girl that you like had hardly ever met before?" You are so weird. You do realize that some women wouldn't be as accepting of this kind of thing no matter how great a kisser you are. Temari replied, still confused. I guess I just could tell that you would accept me. Either that or I was so blindly attracted to you that I didn't care what the consequences would be. I just felt in my heart that I desperately needed you and I had to do something to make you mine, or else I would never be able to forgive myself. Hinata spoke from her heart tenderly. Were you surprised when I kissed you? She questioned the girl. No, not really. I could tell from that longing stare you were giving me that you wanted me, and then when you told me not to leave, I kinda figured what would happen next. It was exactly what I was hoping you would do. I guess I was a little surprised that you actually did it though. As much as I wanted it, I couldn't have ever done what you did. Temari explained. Oh well, I'm really glad I did that back there then. Hinata spoke with a laugh as she stood up. I am too, Temari replied sensually as she pushed her lips to the other girls. As Hinata passionately received the woman's kiss, she was surprised to find her hands had already penetrated the other's robe and had begun to rub the soft, sensual body within it. Hinata and Temari did not finish their breakfast until noon. I understand full well the severity of the situation. The Hokage had a dead serious air about her as she spoke. And you will see to it that he is apprehended, Honorable Lord Hokage. The young Suna Junin replied in a somber tone. Yes, I shall send out a team of our village's best tracker ninjas at once. Tsunade answered with conviction. Good, and due to the situation, the Lord Casecage has ordered that I and another Suna Junin already present in Konoha shall accompany them. A fearful tone still echoed in Konkuro's voice. Very well. Shizune, send a messenger to Ms. Yuhi, have her gather her team at once and meet back here. An unusual severity still lingered within the Konoha leader's tone as her attendant left to accomplish the desired task. So what do you suppose is troubling her? Aburame Shino questioned his best friend intently. Based on how she's acted this month, me and Naruto came to the conclusion that she is using some sort of controlled substance. Inuzuka Kiba replied with absolute certainty. Do you honestly believe that Hinata would be into that sort of thing? Shino replied defiantly. Well, before she came back from that desert assignment, she was all shy and quiet like. Now she's all happy all the time, and really talkative, and she has that stupid smile on her face all the time, and she's always laughing. Can you think of a better explanation? Kiba had concern deep in his voice. Maybe something happened in the desert. The other answered coolly. Shino, are you implying that Hinata was raped? Kiba answered in an angry tone. No, I was just saying that maybe she met someone there. That would rationalize why she has been hanging out with that Suna girl all this month. Shino gave his smooth reply. Are you saying that Hinata's in love with that other girl? The young Inuzuka asked, very confused of his friend. Kiba, I cannot see how you could possibly believe I was inferring that. I was merely stating that maybe she could be her messenger or something. The friend responded, taken aback. I still say that the drugs are a more rational explanation. Kiba said with deep conviction. Suddenly the figure of Yuhi Kurenai approached from over the distant hills toward the two young men. Hey Kurenai-sensei, what's up? Kiba called out upon seeing her. Hey boys, it seems that our team is needed for a mission. Where's Hinata? The woman answered her call. I don't know. We haven't seen Hinata much this month. She's probably with that Junin girl from the desert. Kiba answered his sensei. Okay, I'll go look for her. You two report to the Hokage at once. Kurenai ordered. Right. Both of the young men replied as they went off. Kurenai then began the search for her young student. Hyuga Hinata was of course at that moment, at the same place that she had been nearly the entire month, wrapped in the loving embrace of her beautiful Temari. Over the course of the month, the two women had become accustomed to doing everything together. They ate together, they bathed together, they took romantic walks together, and of course they slept together. The two women couldn't help but believe that what they had was perfect, even though they both knew that in only a few days' time Temari would have to return to her desert home, and Hinata would be forced once more to wait and dream. It soon approached the middle hours of the day, in whence Temari would have to go into town and accomplish some work as her village representative. I don't have much work to do today, Hinata. I should be back in time to pick you up for a nice dinner. Temari spoke softly as she dressed herself and put up her hair. Okay, I'm looking forward to it already, dear. Hinata replied in a deeply loving voice as she too put on some clothes and followed the other to the door. Well, see you then. Temari said with a smile before giving her lover a deep kiss goodbye. Hinata watched as the woman she loved walked swiftly down the street. She turned to return to the apartment she had just left. Standing right in front of her was her own sensei Yuhi Kurenai. There you are, Hinata. I've been looking for you all over. Kurenai spoke softly. Oh Kurenai sensei, I didn't realize that you were there. What is it you need me for? She asked in a reserved manner. Our team has been called for a mission. We are to report to the Hokage at once, and begin immediately. Kurenai gave her reply. Hinata's jaw dropped. She couldn't believe it. Why a mission now? Sure, she knew that ninja missions were what ninjas do, and sure her team hadn't all been on a mission together in a real long time, but now? Would her final moments with her desert flower be siphoned away from her in this instant? Really? We're leaving today then? Hinata had a look of deep depression on her face. Oh Hinata, don't look so down. Why are you so disappointed? The last time you were called for a mission, you were very acceptant of it. Kurenai replied tenderly, attempting to console her young student. Yeah, but things are different now, and they will never be the same. The sadness in the young girl's eye had intensified. Kurenai could tell that those eyes held a secret. It's love, isn't it? So, Hinata, who's the lucky guy? The older woman joked cheerfully at the young Hyuga. There isn't any guy. Hinata gave a slight blush as she spoke. Oh then, it's that girl who was just here. The sand ninja, Temari, or something like that. Kurenai smiled maliciously as the Hyuga girl's face got redder and redder. I'm not. That's not. Howdy did you know? Hinata spoke very shyly, suddenly ashamed of herself. Well, you were right in front of her apartment, watching her leave. Then there's how you have been avoiding everybody this month, and of course Shino and Kiba won't shut up about how odd you have been acting. Kurenai explained herself. You don't think any less of me because I'm a. Hinata still found she was unable to express herself. Hinata, I'll always care about you. I don't care if you're a lesbian. I wouldn't even think less of you if you were actually on drugs like Kiba is convinced, just so long as you are happy. Kurenai gave a caring smile to her young student. Kiba really thinks that. Well, promise that you won't tell anyone. Hinata said suddenly. I promise I won't tell anyone just yet, but you know that you will need to tell everyone eventually. It wouldn't be fair to yourself or Temari if you kept your feelings secret. Kurenai waited for the young girl's shy nod before continuing. We need to go, Hinata, the others are going to be waiting. Kurenai said as she began walking. But what about? Hinata's shy frantic tone returned. I don't know the details yet, but I heard your girlfriend's going on the mission with us. Kurenai looked to see the disappointment in the young girl's face vanish. Really? Hinata started excitedly, thinking now about what going on a mission with Temari would be like. Yep. And the two women briskly walked to join their waiting comrades. Temari had nearly arrived at her destined workplace before suddenly spying an all too familiar face. Kankuro. The girl called out to her younger brother. Ah, Temari, there you are. I've been waiting. The young man spoke in a soft, relieved tone. So what, do I have to go back early or something? Temari spoke with a sad look on her face. Do you really think that Gaara would have sent me here, for something as simple as that? Kankuro spoke in a somber tone. Oh, so it's something else. Great. Temari exclaimed happily, completely missing the distraught look on her brother's face. Are you really enjoying your time in this village that much? Your work reports have become further apart and less detailed, and I hear from the Konoha officials that you seldom show up to any of their meetings. Kankuro now had an intrigued look upon his face. Yeah, and your point? Temari questioned impatiently. Temari, it's kind of obvious what's going on here, you've fallen in love. The brother concluded simply. And no, I haven't. Really? Temari said, looking away with a blush. Yeah, right. So what's this new guy's name? Konkuro now had a mocking smile on his face. Like hell, I'd tell you. Temari said indignantly. What are you afraid that me and Gara wouldn't approve of your new lover? Konkuro now was laughing deeply under his breath. Shut up. Konkuro. Didn't you have some grave and dire purpose for showing up here? Temari said, trying to desperately change the subject. Yes, we are to accompany a team from this village on a dangerous mission. I don't have time to explain, follow me, the Hokage will brief us all. Konkuro said, returning to the quiet tone of before and beginning to move onward. A mission. Now. Hey, wait, I don't want to, damn. The young girl spoke reluctantly and angrily before running to catch up to her brother. The Hokage Tsunade sat peacefully in her chamber. Gathered there with her and her attendant were 2 Junin from Suna, and 2 Konoha Chunin. The 2 that they were waiting on soon appeared as well. As Hinata entered the room with her sensei, she flashed a loving smile to Temari across the room. Temari gave a deeply surprised look, before returning the passionate look with one of her own. Soon after the group had been assembled, the Hokage started her briefing in an oddly serious manner. 2 months ago, a group comprised of shinobi from both Konoha and Suna villages successfully raided a fortress belonging to a dangerous criminal organization, calling themselves the Demon Hawk Syndicate. During this raid, all of the syndicate's members were either or apprehended and handed over to the Suna authorities. Recently, however, the group's leader Akazawa Fumisato managed to escape just prior to his execution. He has many innocent people since then. Reports claim that he has made his way into the deep forest south of this village, where he is hiding out. Yuhi Kurenai, your team is recognized as being one of the best tracking teams in Konoha. Furthermore, a member of your team, Hyuga Hinata, has dealt with members of this group in the past. Your mission is to find this man, and eliminate the threat he poses by any means possible. Do you understand? The Hokage paused for Kurenai's response. Yes, Lord Hokage. Kurenai responded quickly. Very well. Accompanying you on this mission will be these 2 elite Junin from Suna. You are expected to make full use of their skills. You may now all be dismissed. Tsunade finished. The group left the room silently and headed toward the village exit. It had been 3 days since their mission had begun, and none of the 6 shinobi had found any trace of the hunted man. Hinata couldn't help but feel disappointed. She knew that Temari was so close but could not be hers. She hated sleeping alone in that forest, when she knew that her desert flower was only 2 tents away. Seeing Temari, and being able to talk to her, but not being able to touch her was more torturous than any weight. Even the comforting words of Kurenai did not console the young Hyuga. The group had soon penetrated deep into the southern forests. To cover more ground, the shinobi split up. Even with every insect in the forest on his side, Aburame Shino could not detect his target. Even with Akamaru's acute sense of smell to his benefit, Inuzuka Kiba had no luck as well. Hinata's Byakugan sight proved equally as useless in this endeavor. Kurenai and Konkuro had no luck in finding the target either. It was Temari that found the man. Temari walked stealthily through her designated section of forest, checking every bush and tree for the fugitive. Suddenly a sharp sound signaled from above her. She looked up into the trees. An arm grabbed at her from behind, but she dodged it. She turned to face her assailant. He was a tall, oddly thin man in dark red clothing. He had mid-length blonde hair, and wore a red ninja mask over his mouth, and his eyes were a cold, lifeless gray. He held in his right hand a very large jagged knife, and wore giant, spiked metal boots on both his legs. You are the Demon Hawk Akazawa. Temari spoke as she prepared herself for battle, brandishing her trademark fan. Guilty as charged. Now who the hell are you? Akazawa spoke with a terrible rasp that made Temari shiver. I am an elite Junin of Sunagker. I have came to finish what our executioner could not. Temari spoke in a hard, angry tone. Well then, prepare to die. The murderer moved swiftly and smoothly toward the young girl, knife in hand. Temari leapt back and unleashed a wind attack with her fan. Akazawa, rather than cut through the fierce winds, charged them, cutting through them with the force of his knife. Just as Temari prepared for another attack, the criminal disappeared and reappeared at the kunoichi's back. He kicked the girl down to the ground and then stabbed her at the side. Temari gave a loud scream. You worthless bitch. You can scream all you want, all it will do is ensure that your comrades die as well. Akazawa barked angrily at the poor girl as he continued to kick her. I'm not about to beg for my life. You can go right ahead and me if you're going to. Temari spoke curtly, though her lips still quivered in pain. As much as I desperately crave to carve up every inch of your flesh with this knife, I just remembered something. I remember hearing one time that the cage had a sister, supposedly a young beautiful girl who used a giant fan in battle. The evil man gave a smirk at the look of surprised terror in Temari's face. You see, as much as I would enjoying you, you are more useful alive. You'll never get what you want, no matter what you do to me. Sunagker and the cage will never bend to your twisted will. Temari spat angrily as she clutched her side. Is that so? Women like you are the kind I like to see bleed the most. Akazawa kicked his victim harder this time, sending her body flying into a tree. Temari could no longer move as she felt bones within her crack. She laid there face down on the ground, bleeding. Temari. A deep voice called from nearby as Temari's 5 comrades arrived from the shadows of the forest. You filthy evil bastard, what the hell do you think you're doing? Inuzuka Kiba shot angrily as he put on a battle-ready face. Yuhi Kurenai held out an arm to prevent her young student's reckless charge. Kiba, can't you see she is still alive? Akazawa holds the upper hand here. We can't just charge in recklessly when he holds someone's life to his whim. Kurenai spoke frantically. You're right, there's nothing we can do while he holds a hostage. Kiba remarked, quieting down. What is it that you want? Aburame Shino suddenly questioned the evil man. I was waiting for you to ask. What I want is simple. I want all members of the Demon Hawk Syndicate captured 2 months ago to be pardoned and released from their holding cells, and I want monetary compensation for every member. If you do not comply, I will this worthless bitch, as well as every last one of you. Akazawa spoke with a deep, bitter laugh as he once more kicked Temari in her bleeding side, causing her to howl loudly in pain. Damn, we'll have to give in to his demands, won't we? Kiba spoke hesitantly as Kankuro stepped forward. That is not something we can do. We must destroy this man here and now, no matter the costs. Kankuro spoke heavily and somberly. But she's your sister. Shino remarked in disbelief. And that's what makes this so damn hard. Look, we can't just release the entire syndicate and give them enough money to finance years of death and terror. It just doesn't make any sense to sacrifice so much just for one person's sake. Tears rolled down Kankuro's face as he spoke. Kurenai suddenly remembered the conversation she had had with Hinata just prior to this mission. She turned to face the young girl who had been silent. Hinata was there far beyond the rest of the group. She was staring sickly at Akazawa, a look of sheer unstoppable anger adorned her face. Though she was distant, Kurenai could feel the immense amount of chakra pulsing within the young girl. Soon all eyes were upon the Hyuga girl, and soon her Byakugan eye was in full effect, and very soon after that Akazawa Fumisato was dead. Hinata leapt forward at breakneck speed, pulling a kunai from her side. Hinata stabbed the man in the stomach 3 times with the same small knife before lodging it deep within his chest. The girl then proceeded to perform her Juken technique repeatedly, forcing her full hand forcefully against the evil man's body. Blood poured through the man's mask and out of his open wounds as Hinata ruptured nearly all his eternal organs. Kiba and Kankuro looked on in intense shock. Even Shino had a deeply disturbed and confused look on his face. Kurenai looked away, scared to see the sight of so much blood on the hands of her most precious student. Temari looked on in a sort of surreal gaze, quivering and shaking from the sight of so much blood, but at the same time realizing the strength of the feeling behind it. Soon Hinata had no more chakra left to forcefully pump into the dead man, and she passed out from exhaustion. Soon afterward Temari passed out as well from the loss of blood and the intense shock she had sustained. After completing the mission, Hinata and Temari were brought back to Konoha village for rest and medical treatment. Hinata recovered swiftly and soon started to stay at Temari's side for every hour of every day until her beloved was healed. 3 days passed quickly, and Temari was yet to make any waking movement. Kurenai was visiting the hospital to check up on Temari's progress, as well as on Hinata. She was soon greeted by a young medical ninja. Temari's wounds are pretty bad, but she should wake any moment now, and make a quick recovery. Haruno Sakura chimed professionally. That's good news, Nurse Haruno. Are Hinata and Kankuro still in there with her? Kurenai replied politely. Yeah, they are. By the way, I was meaning to ask you about that, Ms. Yuhi. I can understand why the girl's brother comes to visit her so frequently, but why does Ms. Hyuga spend so much time looking after her? Sakura pried, still in a polite tone. Isn't it obvious? I'd think true love wouldn't be too hard to spot. Kurenai replied smoothly. Love. Oh, I see. That makes sense. The young medical ninja turned away for a moment before looking back at Kurenai with a bewildered look about her. Love. Are you telling me that Hinata is a lesbian and that she is in love with that girl? Sakura had a look of shock on her face. I suppose that would be correct. Kurenai replied with a smile. Who else knows this? Sakura spoke impatiently. Just those of us who went on that mission in the forest. Kurenai said calmly. Well, I suppose Hinata wouldn't want me to go around telling everyone. Sakura said with a frown. Tell as many as you like. Kurenai replied softly. But, isn't it secret? Sakura spoke confused. Some things, some feelings, can't be kept secret, and shouldn't be secret. It will be easier for them if people know. Besides, my gut is telling me that Hinata may be forced to tell everyone herself really soon anyway. Kurenai replied with subtle smirk. I see. Sakura said softly, turning to care for another patient. Later that day Temari finally awoke. She had suffered severe injuries, and had many broken bones. She wore bandages across much of her body. The pain had not eluded her quite yet, but she was happy to be greeted with familiar faces when she awoke. Temari, you're finally awake. The voice of her brother called to her. Kankuro, have you been looking after me? Thank you. Temari spoke slightly and gently. Well, you did get pretty banged up back in that forest. I thought I better keep an eye on you until you get all better. Kankuro replied happily. Well, yeah, and thanks a lot for abandoning me back there. I really appreciate that. Temari put on a joking smile. That's the first thing you remember. Look, I'm sorry, but that guy was very dangerous and very insane. I couldn't have complied with his wishes. What did you expect me to do? Kankuro had an embarrassed look about his face. Relax, you did exactly what I would have done. You behaved rationally and intelligently, surprisingly for you. I was only giving you a hard time. Temari said mockingly. Well, that's good to know. Oh, and Temari, I somehow doubt that either Gaara or I would disapprove. Kankuro gave a slight nod toward the dark-haired girl, peacefully sleeping in the chair at Temari's bedside. What? Oh, so you know now, don't you? Temari blushed and averted her eyes from her brother as she spoke. Yep. If it wasn't obvious enough in her actions, she actually told me a couple days ago. The brother replied with an odd smirk. Really? She told you? Temari replied impressed. I can see why you like her. To tell the truth, she caught my attention on that Desert Fortress raid mission. I'm a little jealous. Kankuro's tone was now deeply mocking. Why you? I swear, you better get any ideas out of your head right this instant. Temari started angrily, but stopped when the tension caused her wounds to ache and the noise of our voice awoke the sleeping girl. Temari, you're awake. Hinata jumped to her feet enthusiastically and proceeded to kneel at the other girl's bedside. I just remembered something I need to go do. See you around, Temari. Kankuro smiled as he walked out the door. So do you feel any better? It still hurts, doesn't it? Hinata asked impatiently. I'll be alright. Listen, Hinata, there's something I need to tell you, Temari started softly. Yes, Hinata said eagerly. Back there in the forest, when I saw you, I got scared, I couldn't believe it, I didn't know what to do. The way you looked with that man's blood covering your hand, that sick look in your eye, you look like a demon straight out of hell casting your own cruel judgment upon the world. After that display, I'm not sure our relationship can go on as it has. Temari spoke, slowly but vividly. No, don't say such things. Temari, can't you see that I did that for you? Hinata was in full tears as she raved maliciously. Temari quickly cut her off. Let me finish, Hinata. Do you remember that night so long ago, when you entered my life, when you told me you loved me for the first time, and I told you the same? When you spoke those words to me, it was if your soul burned passionately in each syllable. My words were empty. As much as I enjoyed being with you, holding your body next to mine, I couldn't feel that same passion, that same incredible feeling that you did. Even after every night this month, when I looked into your eyes and told you that I loved you, I was lying. I didn't know what love was. Temari paused for a moment. Tears gushed endlessly from Hinata's face. The older girl moved her bandaged hand to the other's face, and began to stroke it soothingly. But then in that forest, you became that demon, you tore apart that man who would have me with absolutely no remorse, or no thought at what you had done or what could happen to you. In all the blood and the pain of that moment, I realized why you were doing this, why you would let yourself become a monster, why you would charge head first in a blind rage at danger. You did it all for me. This was what love is. I tried to reverse the situation in my mind. I found that I could never have done what you did. It made me hate myself. I felt that I had betrayed you. That I had failed you, and that scared me. I realized just how important you are to me, just how much I wanted, just how much I needed you, and I was scared. I then made a pledge to myself that I would swear to never betray you again, that I would hold you always sacred in my heart, that I would love you, and that is why our relationship cannot go on as it has. Temari looked up at her lover. Tears adorned the faces of both girls. But if that's how you feel, then why can't we go back to how we were? Hinata cried softly. Because, Hinata, I wouldn't be able to take it. Don't you see, Hinata, I can now say it, from the bottom of my heart, that I really and truly love you. This feeling, it's too intense, too strong, and too pure. I don't want to hide it anymore. I can't live with such a big part of me being shrouded in secret. I don't want to face being apart from you ever again. Don't you see? What I'm trying to say is that Hinata, I want you to come live with me. I want you to promise to be mine, and mine alone, forever. The tears were streaming limitlessly from both Kunoichi's eyes. The sun was high in the sky as a single Konoha Chunin trenched through the placid desert. This young dark-haired girl had left her native home, to forever care for the desert flowers she so loved. Hinata had some regrets about leaving that place. Its memories filled her, but some things were just more important. Still, she knew that she would never be complete without Temari, the one she would always cherish. Although at the thought of no longer seeing her friends so frequently, she knew that it was her duty as a lover to be with the one she loved. As she walked, Hinata thought about everything that had happened since her beloved had hit her with those intense and emotional words. Overjoyed at the thought of being near Temari forever, Hinata had made up her mind in an instant, and had sealed her answer with a loving kiss. Hinata remembered that moment. What had started off as a simple, gentle kiss, Hinata gradually transformed into something deep, hard, and ual. Temari responded passionately, with an obvious pain as she held Hinata tightly to her chest. Hinata soon remembered that Temari had several fractured bones, and a huge gash down her side, and that having the weight of another person on top of you, probably isn't the best things for such injuries. She quickly jumped off of the hospital bed. I'm sorry, That was probably pretty painful, with how injured you are. Hinata spoke with an embarrassed laugh. Yeah, it did kind of hurt, but, to tell the truth, I have never felt better. Temari cooed lovingly at the other girl. Hinata smiled brightly at the other's words. A few hours later Konkuro had returned to the room. Sorry if I'm interrupting anything, but I just got a message from Gaara. Konkuro spoke shyly and hesitantly. It's okay, we're only talking. With the condition I'm in, that's about the only thing we can do, unfortunately. Temari said with a sensual smile at her girlfriend, eliciting a blush from both her active parties. Gaara has ordered that you return to Suna as soon as you are able to walk well enough to make the journey. Konkuro spoke reluctantly. Isn't that a little unreasonable? She should stay here until she's completely healed. Hinata said intently. I know you'd like that, Hinata, but I can see why Gaara wants me to return quickly. The blonde girl responded peacefully to her lover. Why's that? Hinata asked. He wants my medical treatment to be completed in Suna. It may seem unreasonable, but he doesn't want to end up owing too much to Konoha. Temari explained. Correct. Using Konoha shinobi allowed us to take down the syndicate easily, and then when we screwed up and allowed Akazawa to escape, it was you Konoha guys that covered our. Not to mention that a Konoha ninja saved the Kazecage's sister's life. Konkuro added. I see. Hinata replied with a frown. Around a week later Temari had left the village. Hinata was to leave to come join her shortly after. Hinata couldn't contain her enthusiasm. The thought of leaving to go live with the woman she loved coursed continually through her mind as the day of her departure grew closer. Still, as that day was soon almost realized, Hinata knew there was something she still had to do. She had to tell everyone she was leaving, and then say goodbye. The young girl was a little scared as to what her friends might now think about her. She had stayed constantly with Temari until she left, and hadn't ventured out much since then. She realized that everyone must already know all about her situation by now, but that didn't change the fact that she needed to say her goodbyes. Hinata walked calmly toward the open area her team usually used for training. She knew that these people in the least would always accept her. Hinata. Kiba called enthusiastically upon seeing the girl. Oh hi everyone. Hinata spoke shyly at her two teammates and the sensei who watched over them. Hello, Hinata, I suppose you came to tell the team something important. Kurenai spoke intently knowing what was to come. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, I decided to leave the village. Hinata looked away, scared, from her friends as she spoke. It's okay, Hinata, if that's what you feel you have to do, then it's alright. Just know that you will always have a place here with us. Kiba spoke reverently. You shall never be forgotten, and you shall be sorely missed, but when we think of you we shall know that you are happy. Shino gave a small smile as he gave his piece. Akamaru's really going to miss you Hinata, I don't know if he'll be able to take it. Kiba had a tear at his eye. I'm sorry, I know this causes a lot of trouble for you guys, you'll have to find a replacement for me and everything. Hinata said longingly. There is no one who could ever replace you, Hinata. Kurenai cried lovingly as she hugged Hinata. But it's okay, you've always been one to do the right thing, Hinata, and we all support you. Kiba said emotionally as he gave Hinata a forceful hug. Akamaru brushed gently against the girl, and she petted him gently. I wish you happiness in your life. Shino said simply, though it was obvious that he held great emotion behind his words. Hinata reached out and hugged him as well. After saying her goodbyes to her teammates and sensei, Hinata felt a little better. These people really cared about her and really wanted her to be happy. Sure, it would be sad to not see them that often, but Hinata knew she would still be able to visit occasionally. Hinata continued down a village street, and soon found herself in the presence of some familiar Konoha shinobi. Gathered there were Akamichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, Haruno Sakura, and Uzumaki Naruto, the majority of the ninja from Hinata's own year. Hey Hinata! Ino called out with a wave. Oh hi guys! Hinata responded in a reserved manner as she approached the group. So is it true what everyone's been saying about you? Ino asked abruptly. And what? What would that be? Hinata asked reluctantly. You know, that you're that you like girls. Ino replied somewhat embarrassed. Well yeah, I guess it is. Hinata had a scared look on her face as she spoke. Oh well, then tell me, don't you think I'm the wildest kunoichi ever? Ino said suddenly. My god, you can be so stupid sometimes, Ino. Sakura exclaimed at her friend. I'm just curious, if lesbian girls find me attractive. Ino attempted to rationalize herself. Do you want other women to find you attractive? Choji questioned confusedly. Well, I don't know, I mean if both men and women are captivated by my incredible beauty, then that's like everyone, and yeah. Ino gave another broken argument. I swear, I will never understand women. Shikamaru shook his head disdainfully at Ino. It's not women, Shikamaru, it's Ino that is impossible to understand. Sakura chimed in. Well, back to my question. You so totally want me, right Hinata? I mean don't I have a great body, and you like blondes right? Ino took a provocative pose, as she questioned the dark-haired girl. I'm sorry Ino, but I'm actually quite committed to what I have now. I suppose, you are kind of attractive though, I mean now that I think about it, I haven't ever really thought about anyone besides Temari before. Hinata answered, trying to avoid catching Ino's gaze. Oh really well I guess that's cool. I guess you guys are getting really serious then. Ino responded a little embarrassed of herself. Yes, while actually, Temari asked me to move to Suna village to live with her. Hinata gave a reserved sigh as she finally managed to convey her message. Wait, you're moving away from Konoha. Naruto spoke, finally looking up from his large cup of ramen. Oh that is so cute. It'll be like you two are married. If there's a wedding I better be invited. Ino gave an enthusiastic sigh. I don't know exactly what's proper in their culture. Hinata spoke with an embarrassed smile strung across her face. So how serious about this are you? You're really going to leave? Choji questioned intently. Well yeah, I mean, I already returned my Konoha headband and everything. Hinata spoke steadily. You did what? So it really is that serious, huh? I suppose you're going to leave and never look back. Naruto spoke with a hint of anger in his voice. Actually, I'm sure that I will have plenty of time to visit. Hinata gave a quick smile. So when are you leaving? Sakura questioned. Tomorrow. Hinata said simply. So you waited till the day before you left to tell us you were leaving. Naruto spoke in a concerned tone. What can you expect? Women are always so troublesome. Shikamaru remarked lazily. We are all going to miss you, Hinata, things simply won't be the same without you around. Choji cried emotionally. Yeah they will, Choji, realistically how many times have you ever actually talked to Hinata for a prolonged amount of time? Shikamaru responded in a bored tone. Shikamaru, why do you have to be so inconsiderate? You know you'll miss Hinata, we all will. Ino spat angrily. Yeah I guess we all have known her for a while, but we just got to get used to the fact that this sort of thing happens, no matter how troublesome it is. Shikamaru sighed. Thank you all for being good friends. Hinata gave a beaming smile to the group before focusing her gaze on the Naruto. Hey, Naruto, before I go I wanted to tell you something. What's that, Hinata? Naruto asked. I just wanted you to know this before I left. I have always looked up to you. For as long as I have known you, you have been my source of inspiration. Without you I don't think I could have possibly acquired the strength to get to where I am right now in my life. I just wanted to thank you. Hinata spoke emotionally. Really? I never knew I was that important. Naruto shot proudly. Well yeah, so just promise me that when I'm gone, and living with Temari, that you won't think any less of me. Hinata smiled brightly as she spoke. Well actually, I probably will be thinking about you more, when the two of you are together. Naruto gave an awkward grin. What do you? Hinata gave a confused look at the young man. You pervert. Sakura yelled as she punched Naruto forcefully to the ground. Hinata gives you that emotional speech, and the all you can do is, I just can't believe you, Naruto, you are such a moron. Well, she did ask, if I'd be thinking about her, Naruto shot back angrily. Hinata just gave a short laugh knowing that she would miss her good friends. Hinata had said goodbye to her friends, and had been met with so many different emotions along the way. The memories of the joy, love, sadness, and embarrassment of the moments all mingled in her mind as she continued walking. Hinata knew she had one more task to complete, one more person to say bye to, and this one scared her. Hinata had not returned to the place she called her home in well over a month now, not since Temari first arrived in Konoha. Now she made her way through the large Hyuga compound, toward the home she had long avoided. As she reached this place, she soon found herself in the presence of her own father, Hyuga Hiyashi. What are you doing back here? Hiyashi shot at her violently. I just wanted to tell you, that I'm leaving the village tomorrow, father. Hinata spoke nervously. You have lost the right to call me that. You have dishonored me, and the Hyuga name. It is best you leave, for you no longer have a place within this family. The man spoke cuttingly. I'm sorry, Hinata started, as tears ran freely down her face. Leave, and don't come back. Hiyashi yelled strongly at the crying girl. Hinata left the house in full tears. She ran a short distance before taking up a spot on a small bench. She sat there a moment thinking and crying. Was what she was doing really that wrong? Don't you see that you have no reason to cry? The sharp voice of Hinata's cousin Neji called from a distance. But, father, why doesn't he understand how I feel? Hinata cried. It is you that doesn't understand. Neji laughed mockingly. What do you mean? Hinata asked suddenly. Things aren't as simple as they appear. Under normal circumstances, if Hiyashi simply decided to choose your sister as his heir, as a branch member of the Hyuga family, you would have to have the curse seal placed upon you. Very likely you would not be allowed to leave the village. You know how they are about protecting the secrets of the Byakugan. By disowning you, he's really doing you a favor. By claiming that you are no longer his daughter, and no longer a member of the family, he's giving you your freedom. You should really be more acceptant of such a gift. Neji spoke bitterly, but lightly. You're right, I guess my father really must care a lot about me after all. I never really thought about how things would work out with the family. Thank you, Neji. Hinata spoke as her tears vanished. Whatever, I just can't stand such pathetic displays of emotion, I had to say something. Neji spoke in a ridiculing, but somehow warming tone as he turned and left. Hinata stayed there for a while staring at the sky, thinking about everything. Tomorrow she would begin her journey to the desert she would come to call home. Soon Hinata was greeted by the sight of another familiar face. Hanabi, what are you doing out so late? Hinata questioned her younger sister. I heard Daddy yelling at you, and I just wanted to see if you were okay, the younger girl spoke in an upset voice. I'm fine now, thank you. Hinata forced a smile with her words. Well, I don't understand everything, but I heard you have to leave. The child spoke with sadness. It's okay, it's what I want anyway. Hinata gave another smile. Well, I'm still going to miss you, sis. Here, I brought you some of your things from your room. Hanabi spoke, giving her older sister a small bundle. Thank you, Hanabi, I'll miss you too. Hinata as she gave her sister a hug. Maybe you can visit sometime. Maybe Daddy will change his mind about you as well eventually. Hanabi smiled a little as she spoke. I don't know about that, but I will visit you. Hinata said. Good. Oh, and Hinata, one more thing. Hanabi said suddenly. What's that, sis? Hinata asked. Is it true that you like to kiss girls? Hanabi questioned her sister out of nowhere. Hinata turned a vibrant red. Well, yeah, I guess it is true. Hinata struggled for her words in her embarrassment. I always thought that girls were only supposed to kiss boys, but if you do it, it must not be wrong, maybe I should do it too. Hanabi spoke steadily. No, it's very wrong, I am a bad person, and you should never do anything I do. Hinata spat suddenly, knowing full well how bad things would turn out for the family if Hanabi as well as her engaged in an inappropriate relationship. Okay sister, I won't. Hanabi responded confused. Good. Hinata replied, relieved that the subject was dropped. Hinata had left early the next morning. Hinata made great stride through the vast desert before her memories held close to her heart. She found her eyes soon graced by the vision of the vaguely familiar desert city. As she got closer to her destination, her tired body soon picked up its already brisk pace. Hinata was soon upon the village entrance. Standing there in the shadow of the Suna gate was the angel ever present in Hinata's every thought and dream. From that moment on, Hinata would love and be forever loved by the one she so treasured, for then and forever Hinata would love her desert flower.